Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor. I'm Terissa Aronson, CEO of the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. It is my pleasure, my honor to facilitate this event every single month. We do it the second Friday right here in Council Chambers at City Hall. You're allowed to come on down now. City Hall is open for this show. We don't get a lot of visitors and haven't since March, but you are welcome to come and join us, and we'd love to have you. We're going to start the show as we always do with our sponsor, and lately our sponsor, Mid-Florida Credit Union, has been sending nonprofits in that they're helping with their events and their fundraising efforts to feature them on the show live. Excuse my breathing. I feel like this mask is getting sucked in and cutting off all air. There we go. A little bit better. Please welcome to the show, of course, from Mid-Florida Credit Union, Jonathan Abreu, and he brought in a special guest. Hey, Jonathan. Jonathan, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm happy it's Friday. How are you?
Yeah, it's always good to have a Friday right on the horizon, isn't it? I'm great. I'm glad you brought in our next guest, and you're featuring him this month. We have a great relationship with the Education Foundation as well, and I know that their biggest fundraiser had a little hiccup due to COVID, but they found a way around it. We're going to hear about it this morning. So, of course, Jonathan Abreu brought Thom Jones, the Executive Director of the St. Lucie County Education Foundation. Welcome, Thom.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank Mid-Florida Credit Union, which is a great sponsor for the foundation also. So thank you very much.
They've been great to us as well. Obviously, they're the sponsor of this show, and we know we're going to someday soon be having a lot of events at the Mid-Florida Event Center.
Exactly.
Yeah, the former Civic Center for Port St. Lucie. So they are really just incredible partners for all of St. Lucie County. Happy to have them here.
Terrific.
So, Thom, I know you, we all have our annual fundraisers. We all have our signature events. And this is typically your signature event, your major fundraiser for the Education Foundation. First, tell everybody, what is the Education Foundation and what is your mission?
Sure. Thank you very much. The Education Foundation is a 501c3 not-for-profit. Mm-hmm. We were actually formed 30 years ago by the school board and civic leaders. And our mission is to advance public education. So what we do is we're sort of like the inside guys working with the school district and the teaching staff to help our struggling students. The primary goal is to help our students graduate. And so we've been doing this for 30 years, and we're actually known as one of the largest private scholarship programs. Mm-hmm. But our grant program, our teacher grant program, which provides mini grants for programs, is our largest effort each year. And the annual dinner, the Evening for Education dinner, is the funding source for that. So just to give you an example, this year we just funded a sensory room for our special needs students to calm them down and give them a better experience in a classroom. We fund the annual science fair. We fund reading programs. We have a very strong focus on struggling students at the pre-K and K level now. So we're working with the school district staff, trying to create programming and trying to support them with their unfunded needs.
Oh, very good. And this event that you typically did went towards those needs.
Correct. Yeah, the Evening for Education celebration now is this is our 21st consecutive celebration, and it's always been an elegant dinner. You've been a guest for many, many years. Thank you very much. And the mayor also. The mayor is a great supporter of the foundation. And so it's an elegant dinner. Most of the time it's black tie and evening gown. It's sometimes themed. It's an elegant dinner. We sponsor tables, and then we have an auction, both live and silent. So when COVID hit, the challenge was, what do we do? And fortunately, we decided, let's go completely virtual. We just don't know what it's going to look like in November. And this is back in April when you're doing the planning, and COVID was just coming out. Yeah. So what we decided to do was we'll still have the event, instead of having it just on the first Thursday of November, which was Saturday rather, the first Saturday in November, which was just last Saturday. We would do a month-long celebration. So this will run from now through Sunday, December the 6th. And it has two components. We'll still have a dinner, but the dinner is at your leisure and with folks that you're comfortable with. So you go on our website, mm-hmm. which is efslc.org.
Yep, Education Foundation, St. Lucie County.org.
You purchase a ticket, and which is a donation to the foundation. And a ticket that we send back to you is good for $25 off a meal at 4 restaurants, local restaurants.
Yeah, I actually, I like to be a good partner to the Education Foundation, so I did get my ticket.
You do that every year. Thank you. Every
And
year.
I was going to show it to everybody because they need to know that this is the actual ticket that you take into the restaurant right here. You sent
Correct.
that to me in the mail yesterday, and it's good at...
4 restaurants, Kyle G's Prime Seafood, 12A Bowie, and Pasteo's Italian restaurant in Tradition, and the new restaurant also in Tradition, Meeting Street Steak and Seafood. So you just go in, have your meal, they're all ready for you, just give them the ticket. And actually, we give the $25 back to the business.
Oh,
'Cause
good.
what we wanted to do was support our businesses. So it's really a donation to the foundation, but $25 is passed on to the local restaurant.
I love that idea. And not only that, are you giving them the $25, but you know they're going to most people are going to spend more. They're not going to go in there by themselves.
Absolutely.
So I love the fact that you're garnering a little bit more business for them on top of everything.
Right, and it was an easy sell. Okay, they just loved it. Okay, and I wish I could do more, but this year we thought we'd just have it limited to 4 or 5, and we settled on 4. And the other component, and this is open to everyone, you don't have to buy a ticket or anything, is our auction is now live. Okay,
Yeah.
it's now online, so you can just go on our website efslc.org, click auction, and go on right now and start bidding. There are hundreds of items, and let me just make a comment. I think we didn't know how we were going to do with sponsorships and auction items that were donated, but I can tell you we were overwhelmed with the generosity of the community. The business community stepped up like Mid-Florida. Our sponsorship levels hit a record high this year.
Oh my goodness.
We're so proud of that, and we have more items in our auction than ever before. Over 100 items, and wonderful items, anywhere from saving money on a Lexus to autographed footballs to staycations and our famous school baskets. 13 schools donated baskets from their art programs, and they are just wonderful and creative. And you can see all of that online. Even go on your mobile device and click and bid.
And I've been doing that and getting outbid at a regular pace. My phone keeps going off. But I love that auction site because it's very easy to do. You can do it anywhere. When you do get outbid, you get a text.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So you can go back in and try again. But you did get some great items this year. I was going through them. Dana McSweeney and I have been fighting over quite a few of them online. But there's
Yes,
some
in fact,
great items.
I spoke with Dana just yesterday at the Rotary Club, and she was telling me that.
Yes. So it's great items, and you don't have to buy a ticket to participate.
No, it's free to everyone, and what happens is you can preview, bid, and settle right on your computer or your mobile device.
Yeah, I love this idea. I'm probably going to steal some version of it. I already told you.
Oh, absolutely,
Because
yeah.
we can't do our signature event either, our Business and Industry Awards. And I thought this is just such a great idea because it gives back to the local restaurants too, which is the part that I really, really loved.
Well, then we should talk, because I have some tweaks that we can make, okay?
Okay, good. I appreciate that. See, that's how, I don't do it when you're doing it though. I've got to do it a different time.
Well, also, I was talking to some people, and all of the other nonprofits are just wonderful people, and they know that we normally start our dinner on the first Saturday of November. And in deference to that, everyone kind of held off a little bit, just kind of letting us have our space for that day.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful. And now you'll see a lot of these auctions starting. So, I mean, you just look and bid on all of the items. I will say this, our auction site is being updated daily as more items roll in.
Oh,
so keep
wow.
visiting. It's not static at all. And we just added some more items yesterday. We got some more items. So, we're still scouring the community and putting those on there.
I love that. I saw our membership. We donated a membership to.
You did. Thank you very
and
much.
that's on there, so we're happy to be a part of that. I love this idea. This is great stuff, and the tickets are relatively inexpensive. It's $50 per person, and then you get $25 towards a restaurant.
Correct. That's right.
One of those 4 great restaurants, and those are some great restaurants. So kudos to you for those gets. That's great.
Thank you.
And of course, you're supporting the Education Foundation of St. Lucie County, which we
Yeah, all this money will go towards those teacher grants next year and fund that. So I'm really encouraged that we'll have a great year, and next year we'll be able to give. Last year we actually had a record dollar amount of teacher grants. This year I thought with COVID it might come down a lot, but it's just about the same as last year. And I'm hoping that with this fundraising we will continue that trend.
And people should know that the majority of your budget goes towards scholarships and programs such as this. I mean, you have a very skeleton staff as well.
Oh, yeah, we're a mission-driven organization. I'm the only paid full-time professional. There's a part-time office manager, Jackie Wolf, who's terrific. I could not do it without her. And then we have a part-time bookkeeper, where I think we actually share that person.
We share a part-time
Right.
bookkeeper, yes.
Right, but that's all we have, and we run with that. But it's the generosity of the community and the generosity of the school district that really keeps us going.
I love this mission, and we've partnered over the years, and a lot of great work comes out of the Education Foundation, so we're always happy to support. Don't forget efslc.org to order your tickets and to find those auction items.
Exactly right.
And please take a look at those. Remember, it's for a very good cause. Thank you for being with us today, Mr. Jones. Always nice to see you. Always nice to spend a little time with you.
Welcome, Terissa. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you to Mid-Florida.
Yeah, and Jonathan, I know you're probably still on the line. I want to check in with you and see what's happening in Mid-Florida land right now.
Perfect. Well, what's new with Mid-Florida? Stewart is officially open.
Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations.
Yes, it was. It's been a long time coming. We had a couple hiccups, a couple delays, but it is finally open. Anyone in the Martin County area, please check your mail. Make sure you're looking for a Mid-Florida flyer. I believe toward the bottom of that flyer there is a coupon that you can trade in at the Mid-Florida site for a. I believe it's a gift card to Chick-fil-A.
Okay. People are going to be scrambling for those flyers. I can guarantee it. There's nothing.
We're actually raffling. I believe it's 5 to 6 gifts a week for the next. I believe this week and for the next 3 weeks. So ranging from I think iRobot, $250 Home Depot gift card, Visa gift card, several gift cards, and a lot of different gifts. So come and check us out.
Your generosity at Mid-Florida never ceases to amaze me. When are we giving away the car?
I believe the car is actually going to be raffled sometime next year.
Oh, next year. Okay, very good.
Mm-hmm. So there's still some time for that. So just use your Mid-Florida debit card, use your Mid-Florida credit card. Each time you use it, it is an entry toward winning that vehicle.
Very good. And when can where can we find the flyer again for the for Stewart location?
I believe that was mailed out basically to the surrounding residential areas by the Stewart branch that's located on Canner and Monterey.
Okay, perfect.
So it's more than likely it's something that was mailed out just to the Martin County area.
Very good. Appreciate it very much. Well, Jonathan, thank you for being with us. Thank you for bringing Thom Jones with you. We appreciate that very much. And your support here at Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor does not go unnoticed. We're internally grateful. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back. We have a special guest today. Our friends at Florida Power and Light have some messages they think apparently this hurricane season's not over, although I keep saying it is, but I can't declare that. So we'll be visiting with Kate Cotner in just a few moments. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back to Coffee with the Port St. Lucie Mayor. I am Terissa Aronson. We just finished up with Mid-Florida, and they brought in our nonprofit of the month, which was, of course, Thom Jones and the Education Foundation. We're now going to visit with a good friend of ours, a good friend of the community, actually to the state. And she has just a few good things to share with us, some information. And we've asked her to do this on this outlet just because we know that our viewers are very loyal and great deal of you are Florida Power and Light customers. Please welcome to the show Kate Cotner from Florida Power and Light. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction and for allowing me to be here this morning on Coffee with the Mayor. We're just so happy to be a part of the St. Lucie County community. And today, my hope is to share some positive things. We're at the tail end of the most active hurricane season in recorded history, not to mention the fact that we're still in the midst of a global pandemic, and it's challenged all of us in many different ways. So my hope this morning is to leave you with the feeling that there's something positive out there for all of us and something to look forward to. So just to start, I wanted to give some fun facts about the company. So NextEra Energy, which is our parent company, they're in the top 200 companies in the nation. NextEra Energy Resources is the world's largest generator of wind and solar energy, and it's a world leader in battery storage. So it's just really great to have them headquartered right here in Florida in Juno Beach. And Florida Power and Light obviously is a subsidiary of that. We provide service to 35 counties in the state. which is approximately 5 million customer accounts. We have over 1 million poles, 75,000 miles of power lines. Believe it or not, we are one of 54 utilities in the state of Florida. We are the largest, but we're not the only one. We are committed every day to delivering America's best energy value, and that's affordability, reliability, and the cleanest energy. We're among the cleanest energy companies in the industry, and we're really proud of that. That's not by accident, it's by design. So let's talk a little bit about hurricane season. As I stated earlier, we're in the most active hurricane season in recorded history. But the good news is since 2006, Florida Power & Light has invested billions, with a B, billions of dollars into the system to make it stronger so that we can have that reliability. It's not only improved the day-to-day reliability for our customers, it's also improved the speed of restoration. So just some examples of this is we've replaced a lot of our transmission lines from wooden poles to concrete poles. We've also installed over 5 million smart meters and 160,000 smart devices on our lines. So what this does is it not only tells the company when there's a power outage, but it also helps tell us when there's a problem before it becomes a power outage. So this smart technology has just been so wonderful and so effective. We've also implemented an aggressive vegetation policy. So some folks are not so happy about it, but we go out there and we trim the vegetation around our lines, and that helps prevent those power outages. Just to give you an example of the success of our hardening program, this last storm, Tropical Storm Eta, it was messy and it was slow moving, but our smart technology saved over 150,000 customers from losing power. And we restored power very quickly. I mean, it just left the state yesterday, and we have almost all of our power customers restored, whether it be in South Florida or in North Florida, since we got hit twice. Moving on to COVID, 2020 has taken a toll on all of us. It's been so challenging, but as a company, I've been really proud of the fact we've pivoted quickly and we implemented our pandemic plan. And then we really tried to think about how we could help our customers. What do our customers need in this time of just uncertainty? So the first step is we used money that we had from overcharging for fuel. Normally, when we have overcharges of fuel for customers, we go ahead and give kind of a rebate over several months. Well, we went to the Public Service Commission because we're a heavily regulated industry, and we requested permission and received it to give a one-time refund to our customers. So in the month of May, everyone's bill on average was about 25% less. So that obviously helped everyone with their bank accounts. We also provided community support. So we've donated over $5 million throughout our service territory to help the most vulnerable in our community, whether that's food insecurity or the digital divide. Locally, we provided donations to the Community Foundation, the United Against Poverty, Mustard Seed, Boys and Girls Club, and the PACE program. And we're so blessed to have partnered with these wonderful organizations that are out there on the ground helping our community recover from this crazy pandemic. We're also focused on education. I'm a proud member of the Education Foundation of St. Lucie County Board. Thom and Jackie just work so hard to really raise the funds to give it to our educators. And they're the ones on the front lines right now, if you think about it. They're making sure our students, kind of bridge the gap that they had that divide. They had time at home, and some people had internet while others didn't. So it's so important that we support those educators right now. At Manatee Lagoon in Palm Beach County, we have a facility, and we usually offer a summer program. Well, this summer it was a little different, so we offered a virtual summer program, and we partnered with places like the Miami Zoo and Lion Country Safari and the Palm Beach Zoo, and it was available to all of our customers, and it was such a success that I think we're going to continue doing it. So, if you're interested in something like that for your students, I believe it was 4th through 6th grade, and now we're working on a program for middle school. So please check that out.
Very good.
I don't want to forget the small businesses. They're the backbone of our community. I want to make sure everyone knows that we have reached out to the Public Service Commission again, and we are trying to put together a program called the Main Street Recovery Credit Program. This would offer discounts, webinars on how to reduce your energy bills, and just kind of overall business energy management. It'd be available to new small businesses that were inactive for 6 months, and existing small businesses that operate in an opportunity zone. Finally, we continue to help our customers. If you are having issues paying your utility bill, please go to fpl.com/help or call 1-800-226-3545. We have payment plans and we're here to help. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. And it's a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Kate. We appreciate you being here. That was time well spent. That was a lot of information in a very short amount of time. But to find out more about all these programs, fpl.com, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Kate. I mean, she hit all the sweet spots.
She's a professional.
I know it. Education, business, all of it. She got it all in like impressively 3.5 minutes or less, I think it might have been. So good. Thank you, Kate. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it very much. Have a great day, and I'm sure I will talk with you soon.
Okay, you too.
All righty. Very nice. I mean, that was a lot of information. And FP&L is a great partner for us. They're always coming up with new things. They've got an incubator program. They're doing some small business grants for energy. Very nice to have them as partners. Please welcome to the show the one, the only, the mayor of the city of Port St. Lucie, of course, the Honorable Gregory Oravec. Good morning. We're not even going to take a break. We're just going to get into it.
Yeah, let's
You're
just
there?
go right there. And I didn't think you were going to be here, and you're here, and you're wearing like black formal wear.
Yeah, I'm wearing all black today because I have to get my picture taken at a ribbon cutting, and I've given up on my COVID-19 and just camouflaging it for the most part in black whenever possible.
You are ready. You are ready for photos. And I see that maybe you brought some of your entourage today. You're making them venture forth into the world.
I think that this seemed like a safe enough place. It's a very large room with very few people in it. And I have someone new on my staff, and she wanted to come and check it out. We have, of course, Mark Tremblay, you've known forever, and Catherine Cordiero in charge of our events. But we brought on Margaret Mitchell, is now the administrative assistant for our office, for me, executive assistant for me. And you may know Margaret. She spent a lot of years in politics with Debbie Mayfield. So she knows the ropes, as they say.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you.
Yeah, so we're excited. We got a lot of stuff coming up with the chamber. We're going to try some new things. I think we're putting leadership, and I hope nobody's watching in the leadership because we haven't had our Zoom call yet, but...
You might not want to release it here.
Yeah.
Tenderhooks here. I want to know pins and needles, but...
Yeah, I need to have my Zoom call first, but we've got to readjust. It's a year of, as they say, pivot.
Well, we have a great City University class, and just gave some comments to the last graduating class here a couple weeks ago. But it's not the same experience without the on-site visits with our City University and being a graduate of leadership. As you and I were talking about just the other day, it's such a important part of the experience of getting to go places that you wouldn't otherwise go and being able to learn. So I remember going to the jail, to sugar processing facility, to the courts. You just go to all these places and get the behind the scenes tour, and of course the camaraderie with your classmates from all aspects of life in St. Lucie County. That's what makes it so special.
It is. I went through leadership in 2005 or 6. I think I was working for the paper. That was sort of my introduction to the chamber, oddly enough. And Commissioner...
Wow, it's like almost half of the room worked for the paper.
You're probably right. And this is probably how many people are left at the paper. Don't tell them I said that. Is this live on Facebook? But Commissioner Bartz was in my class, and Candace Loop. So you make some lifelong friends as well, and it's very hard to do that over Zoom. But this is my favorite part of leadership when I went, the Da Vinci remote operating machine was brand new at the time. I'm dating myself. And I got to operate it on a washcloth, that didn't fare well. But I got to actually operate the Da Vinci machinery, robot. And I don't know where else in the world you would ever have the opportunity to do that besides some sort of leadership class like we had. But yeah, the jail is really interesting, always good for some laughs. And they're not going to let us in.
And I never wanted to see that from the inside in my regular life. So I was happy to do it as part of leadership.
That's the best way to do it for sure. And so we're going to figure it out, but we're going to do some things in lieu of. We're even going to hopefully be able to go out. I think the next couple of months are going to be critical in determining what it looks like next year for a lot of organizations like mine. So we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully Pfizer's early release of data and 90% effectiveness continues along that trend, and
yeah,
we
Johnson
get a
Johnson's
vaccine
right on the heels. One-time vaccine is coming too, and so I'm very hopeful, and I think we'll be fine. It just we need a little bit of time under our belts to get back to normal, and we will.
Agreed. Well, I'm sure the community looks forward to that. I recommend leadership to everyone watching and anyone in St. Lucie County. Yeah, it's great.
It is an amazing program. I honestly go through it every year as the facilitator, and I learn something new every year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
All right.
what else is going on? Anything? Do you want to report to the people of Port St. Lucie?
I don't have a ton that I need to report on behalf of the chamber. We're light on events. We're still figuring out our fundraisers. We had Thom Jones on here. He did a really unique way of doing his fundraiser. Instead of coming to a dinner, you get a gift certificate to go somewhere and have dinner, which I love for many reasons because it's helping out restaurants as well. And then having the auction online, we may do something like that. Some sort of virtual business and industry. That's our signature event. We usually have 400 people gather. I don't think we're going to be allowed to do that. So we're kind of trying to figure it out. But we're excited about Christmas in the city. We hope to be able to get that one event. That's our one event for this year before the numbers go up. And that's in a couple of weeks, December 10th at Dyer Chevrolet, and it's open to the public. So far here in St. Lucie County, our numbers are somewhat steady, but we're keeping an eye on it.
Yes, of course, across the country, they're seeing the numbers spike as it gets colder. And it is actually nice out today. The sun is shining, which is so great because we have had a lot of rain. We're 15 inches above average. We had an exceptionally wet October and a tropical storm in the middle of November. So the ground can't take any more water. It's saturated out there. There's standing water across the city and across South Florida right now. So we're working through that, and it's nice to see the sunshine today. We did have some big news in the city this last week. The city council authorized the city manager to negotiate a contract for the acquisition of City Center from the court-appointed receiver. And so if anyone's been following this, and actually most of the city's been following it, and it's one of the stories that really resonates with, we were joking about the newspaper before and kind of gallows humor, but one of the stories that really resonates with our local paper to this day is City Center. What's happening? Why has it just been sitting there? And it's been sitting there for about 5 years, the last 5 years, because it's been in receivership. SEC appointed receiver has been over the property, was liquidating the assets of one Lily Zong, who apparently committed securities fraud. And the receiver tried to sell City Center to the private sector, had a couple of credible purchasers, potential purchasers along the way. They couldn't make the numbers work, though, because City Center had been sitting and really had been sitting since the Great Recession when Guardiola lost the property right around 2008 or so. The interest on the taxes and assessments have been accruing. And normally, compound interest is our friend. We like it, in our savings account, on our CDs. We like how it works. Not when it's on the other side, making something more expensive for you.
Yeah.
So it really made the numbers unworkable. And the receiver came to the city. And this was one of those undercurrents the whole time. Is this something we should explore? And the city manager, in his recommendation to council, said, "Hey, this is the way to finally move City Center forward," and the city council wholeheartedly agrees. So we've given him authorization to negotiate it to come back to the city council for final approval. looks like that purchase price somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000. It's $400,000 in the agenda item, but he wants to keep the Bell's lease for revenue, but have us be the landlord. Ooh. So council and I, we just talked to Russ about having a clean break. Like, well, you're going to make a clean break, make a clean break. Don't have any weird thing where I get the revenue of your rent payment, you know, and then you have to take care of if the air condition breaks or there's a hole in the roof. Just doesn't make sense.
Well, the city is a lot of things to a lot of people, but typically not a landlord. So that is a sticky situation. But I understand the need to negotiate, because if this land is not marketable, it's not going to hold its value for the debt owed on it. You're never going to get rid of it, and that's not the goal. The goal is to turn that into a vibrant area for our city and for our residents.
Yeah, that's been the goal since 2001.
Yes, from the beginning, and you have to remove impediments to get there, and that is this is a first step in doing that.
Absolutely. So it's upside down right now.
Of course.
Which I think a lot of people can relate to, the real estate experience, especially after the Great Recession, what it means to be underwater or upside down on a piece of property.
Yep.
And we have to get beyond that. As revealed in the appraisal that we got of the property, without the encumbrances, well, it might be worth $14 million or so. But with all the encumbrances, it might be worth negative $25 million. So it's a big impediment. And if you're looking for, hey, is there an example? Help me understand this. Well, just like what we did with Southern Grove, where the developer couldn't make it work and was going to default, we stepped in. And if you look at all the transactions we've been able to close and get under contract, turning that into jobs. Well, Southern Grove's just a much bigger version. It's 1,200 acres. City Center's, let's just roughly, if you draw a line around the whole thing, 60 acres. So it's smaller, but it's the same dynamic. And then, of course, a lot of people, so many people move here every year. We're over 201,000 now. City was a smaller place in 2001. And a lot of people might not know the history, but in 2001, there was no tradition.
Correct.
You know, there was no GL Homes and Valencia K and all these things.
Nope.
There was St. Lucie West, there was PSL Boulevard, and there's the US 1 corridor. And the community came together and said, hey, we want a central gathering place. We want a downtown that we never had. We're going to redevelop the US 1 corridor as part of a community redevelopment area. And the big idea is we're going to turn this old Village Green shopping center, which was a 1980s, a poorly executed 1980s garden-style mall.
I remember
with
it
the fountain
very well.
in the middle.
I was here in time to see that whole thing in action when the movie theater there was still running.
You were? Okay,
I was.
good. So you have firsthand knowledge, but for the people that moved after it was demolished, they might not know what was there. And it didn't really work great as retail. It didn't have as many windows. It was confusing. People got lost in there. That's why I say it was poorly executed. And DeGuardiola came in after, kind of in the mid-2000s. He had successfully developed Abacoa and Jupiter, and there was a lot of hope and optimism. And we demolished the movie theater, broke ground on the Civic Center, now MIDFLORIDA Credit Union Event Center in 2007. It opened in 2008. The holiday party was there for the city in December 2008, and then to me, it's just crystallized in my mind that was this high point, and then almost immediately thereafter, you go into you come off the cliff and you fall into the abyss of the Great Recession, which was a depression here. And the community's dream of having a central gathering place has been frozen ever since. Now, a lot has changed. So back then, you didn't have tradition. Now we do. We have Southern Grove and all the Western development. And back when the city originally, the community did the original community redevelopment plan, the master plan for US 1 and City Center, Walton Road was going to go to the island, which is another major market factor.
Yes.
And so now I think the challenge is, will it be the central gathering place? No, it'll probably be a central gathering place. It'll be a destination in the city, and it should be that vibrant destination in the city. But we have to recognize that St. Lucie West has come into its own. You have Tradition, Southern Grove. You have the Port District we're working on with Pioneer Park, Botanical Gardens, historical homes. It's so special. And then what will this be? And so we can actually have more than an intellectual exercise now if we gain control of the property. Then we can actually make it happen. And so I believe that the council, and I know that me personally, I want to see the community be involved. To me, this is their project. This is their hopes and dreams that have been outstanding for a couple of decades. And now we're going to be in a position to make it happen. And there's going to be several opportunities, because if we acquire the property, then you want to get the master plan. And then you want to effect the master plan. You want to implement it by getting the private sector partners and the other partners necessary to carry it out. And the first opportunity to let your voice be heard is going to be next Tuesday, I believe. You do have to sign up for a Zoom meeting. And Sarah Maureen, how do you sign up? What's the webpage I can go to? Okay, the sign-up's right on the page? Great.
So we got to say that page because Sarah's not marked.
No, I know. cityofpsl.com/city center. So if you go there, you can learn about the property, I'm sure, and the history, and see some of the questions and answers. But more importantly, you can sign up for this first workshop. This is going to air on TV after that first workshop. Don't worry. There's going to be more workshops to come. This will be a series of workshops. It's very important that we get your input. And as I shared with the council and staff and the public at Monday night's meeting, for me, it's got to be more. City Center has to be more than apartments and assisted living for it to be the vibrant destination it needs to be, which to this point is what some of the private developers have been focused on. But the US 1 corridor already has more apartments and assisted living than any other part of the city. And it needs to be something more than that. So definitely want to hear from the people.
So you brought up so many great points there. I don't even know where to start. But first of all, sometimes the city has to make decisions that can be perceived as the lesser of two evils. But you have to do it with vision, the long-term vision and income potential for your city and the overall feel. What are you trying to be? And that's important here at City Center. People need to get involved. What do you want that to be? Because the reality is, without input, without a master plan, you're going to get private sector investors that are going to build things that make money, which are apartments and assisted living facilities. So I can't stress enough the importance of having a master plan and having the people speak. And I know that we have Tradition. I know we have St. Lucie West, but there isn't something like that over at US 1, and this is your opportunity. So we want to make sure that we're doing this right and we have a clear plan of what we want that to look like. And I know many people have opinions. So are you bringing in to do the, I'm going to call it a charrette, but I know I'm not allowed to call it a charrette anymore.
I would, or whether you want to call it a charrette or a public planning process.
Yeah.
So
it's input from the community.
The manager's got to come back and share exactly his recommendation. We had already, the city staff, in response to our strategic planning effort that we do every year for the city at large, had brought on Kimley Horn and Associates, pretty well-known engineering consulting firm, to do a small area plan. So they're looking at the area just to start the process, not knowing that we would be in this position to actually take it down. So I think now we're going to explore, hey, is it possible that we could amend this contract and bring in the Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council that did such a good job with the Southern Grove master planning process, public-driven, high-quality plan. Not only did it have planners, had economists and market experts that could really help.
ULI came in on that one though too. Yeah.
Well, that was like our first cut,
Yeah.
just to give us a big picture and help us at the onset. So we're trying to figure that out right now. But what is important is that you have not only the planning consultant, but the market consultant. So we talk a lot about how people want certain restaurants and certain retailers, and it's not within the city's control. And this is the same thing, and it's really important to share. So you want to hear from the public on what they want there, the uses, what they want it to look like, and then the council has to hear from the market experts that say, and the planners that say, okay, these are the uses and this is what it should look like, but here's what the market will support. And then you have to find the overlap
Yes.
of those things. You have to triangulate and work the middle.
Yes.
Because, if you say I want an IKEA and a Trader Joe's and the market doesn't support it, it's not going to be there. So you have to balance all these factors, and then you're playing a longer game because, to your point, the market will put what makes money now.
They will absolutely do what makes
But that's not always in the best interest of the community. So we're going to have this phased approach. We're going to lift it up, and then this parcel in 5 years can be that higher and better use, and you work towards that. And you see that in downtowns and major developments everywhere. But it's a process, and the council has to balance all these factors.
So it's a Venn diagram. It's a big circle of what everybody wants. They want Trader Joe's and Costco and all the, a Cheesecake Factory. And then it's a circle of, well, these are potentials based on your demographics that would be willing to come here and make sense for this area. And you're looking for what overlaps in the middle. So it's a basic Venn diagram. It's hard to get to, but it's important to get to that. Now, see, as the chamber president, I always advocate for land rights. But in this case, this is a planned development as guided by the city. So this is within our rights as a community to gear it towards what we think the future needs from that property. It's not like somebody bought a lot in the heart of the city and wants to do something with it that is allowed. This is totally different. So I don't want people to mistake the fact that cities are expected to have areas that are developed to serve the needs of the future residents and not just independently owned and operated land use everywhere. These are totally different projects. So you with me? It's confusing to people because we always say, well, if you're allowed to put it there, you have to let them put that there. But this is specific to the city.
Well, sure, but if you're allowed to put it there, you can put it there in property rights. So even though you're a staunch property rights supporter, you still recognize that zoning exists.
Yes.
And so cities have zoning, the right to impose zoning laws. And that works, I believe, to everyone's benefit.
Yes.
And so a lot of the city's ability to regulate, to legislate what can go at city center is just due to its zoning laws and what's called police powers. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is this is in redevelopment area, and most states in our union have redevelopment areas. It's a tool that communities use to lift up communities. And our US 1 corridor is an older portion of the city. And it's an area that if we don't work on redevelopment, I believe will fall behind the newer, wealthier areas of the city like St. Lucie West and Tradition.
Of course.
And I think, if I'm being just direct, I think you're seeing that already. And that's why getting city center moving is so important. And that's why the city's upcoming US 1 beautification project, which is going to start from that section from Crosstown Parkway where it hits US 1 to city center is so important. Just getting those physical infrastructure, beautification improvements in the ground in concert with something happening at city center. Then, you get critical mass that influences the rest of the district. But without that, it's not moving in the right direction.
I agree wholeheartedly. We're going to try to move over to some questions, and Jill's got a couple of here, and I'm going to try to answer them quickly. The volunteer group for high school students. Each high school has volunteer-based organizations within them, and they already have established
Well, hold on a
relationships.
second, because the audience doesn't know Jill's question. So Jill Leifer asks, looking to start a volunteer group with our high school students, is this something that I could do on my own, or would I have to go get authorization?
Well, that's a twofold question, isn't it? There are a lot
Maybe even three.
Yeah, there are a lot of volunteer groups through your high school, through local organizations, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, all those kinds of places, and they have in place partnerships, which make it very easy to place students that want to volunteer in areas they want to volunteer in. However, anybody can start a nonprofit. Anybody can start any group they want. We live in America. And if you want to do it, you can make it happen. What's the third part?
Well, I would say that you can make this as formal as you want, Jill. So, Jill, you and some friends can go out and do good things, like pick up litter or whatever the cause closest to your heart is. You could start a club at the high school if it doesn't exist already. You could incorporate. So most nonprofits that you see out there in the world are 501c3s. And you have the ability to start your own corporation. But, start with the informal club, see if you can build it up, and then, take it as far as you desire. So that's what I'd say. And then she asked about leadership programs for high school students. What's your minimum age on leadership?
Actually, it's 18, but they have to come through a nomination of a business, a member business.
Okay.
So they do have to be nominated. There's a strenuous application process, and we have to turn people away every year. So that one's really rough. Now, there are some, the Roundtable does a small leadership program for youth and through the college. So there is that, but we don't. We're a business organization, so we don't have one. We do have the Young Floridian, which is a scholarship program. Yeah, and that is for high school seniors only. But typically, I would hook you up with a couple other organizations that we know of that could help out there. So.
All right. And for City University, we deliberated that, and I think we lowered the age. Sarah, do you know what the age is? Can you look it up, see if it's on the... No, I think we did. I think we...
Lowered it?
Yeah, I think we lowered it, so maybe...
We have a young professional.
A junior or
group.
senior could do it. And then also, you may be interested to know the city's working on a youth council. That'll be coming to the council later this year. We asked our staff to create proposed guidelines to have basically a student council advise the city. 18? It is.
But high school juniors and seniors can apply with a letter of recommendation.
There we go. That's what I remember. So for City University, juniors and seniors with a letter of recommendation can apply.
Get in
So I
there.
encourage you to do that. And then we're also working on that youth council. So you want to read the next one?
Yes. So Mikiyuki Kubo has a question, and that is, with all the new development and plans for the currently undeveloped land, is there concern for the balance of wildlife along with development? For example, would it be possible to have some areas untouched in between so it won't totally destroy the habitat? This is a very detailed question. Are you going to get into the weeds on this
the
one?
Weeds in the forest?
Yeah, I
a little
think you
bit.
might.
And of course, being a native Floridian who holds a degree in marine environmental systems,
Yeah, and this is your
these kind
passion
of
area.
issues, touch my heart. And what I'd say is, yes, absolutely, undeveloped land preservation, wildlife preservation, wildlife corridors, greenways, blueways. These are all things the city's working on. These are all things that are incorporated into the comprehensive plan. But depending where you're at, it might not be enough. And let's have a very direct conversation. So the quarter-acre lots in the city, which you think are woods, are the constitutional rights of property owners to build homes. And so we were talking about you being a staunch property rights advocate. Well, everyone who owns a quarter-acre lot in the city has a right to build a house on that.
Absolutely.
So you have to plan on that happening. And so if you live in an area of the city where there's 10 quarter-acre lots and you're like, oh, this is great, this feels like the woods.
It does.
And I like that.
I do too.
It's always been my dream to have 2 lots.
Yep.
You might feel that way, but you have to know that that's temporary. There's houses coming to those lots unless the city can acquire them through its preservation program. And this year, as part of our strategic master plan, that is one of the work priorities for staff to present a preservation master plan to the city council so that we can utilize our resources. We get a certain number of preservation dollars every year. Developers are required to either set aside a certain percentage of land or pay into a preservation fund so we can utilize that money for the best overall effect. We can deliver the greatest benefit for the money that's available. So that we're in the midst of that to figure that out. But it's probably not going to be the 1/4 acre lot here or the 3 over there. It's probably the larger tracts that have greater ecological value.
Yeah.
Maureen, do you mind bringing that question back and maybe not moving it for me until we get all the way through?
So it's in those scatter lots, the infill lots in the city, those were slated for houses, and eventually somebody is probably going to put one there. And they may house some tortoises and some birds' nests, but there are some consensus on making sure we preserve other areas in our county, in our city, to offset or mitigate the loss of habitat. But those habitats were planned to go. These are just lots that haven't been cleared. They're not designated.
Actually, they've already been cleared, and now you're seeing the regrowth.
Yeah, you're right about that too. Most of them have been cleared at one point in regrowth.
So if you see these lots that have palmettos and then pine trees with like a 10-inch diameter, 8-inch diameter, that's when GDC clear cut it, and Mother Nature came back already. If you see areas of the city where there's an oak tree that you can't put your arms around, there's not many. In fact, they're not on the GDC lots usually. Usually they're in the enclave pieces that for some reason GDC didn't own. And you can see this actually in a big way right off of Mariposa and Leonard. So if you go to Leonard and Mariposa, there's a Sam's right on US 1. It's across the street from Super Walmart. That's Leonard Road. And then you have that nice lake, and then there's this woods next to it.
Okay.
Well, that was unincorporated county. That was outside of GDC's ownership. And that's why it's just this amazing stand of hardwoods. And I once saw an owl in there that was like that big. I mean,
wow.
It's amazing. There's a trail that goes through there, and it's amazing to walk through there. And of course, now it's next to that big stormwater area that we did as part of the Eastern Watershed Improvement Project. So it's fantastic. But the reason why those trees still exist is because it wasn't cleared by GDC back in the late 50s and 60s, 70s, et cetera. But all those pine trees and scrub that you see, that's regrowth that happened after they cleared it once. So this is the process we're going through. I do think you'll see some preservation in the neighborhoods, but it might not be as much as Mickey Yuki would like to see on that. But don't just look at it as a glass half empty, because the city is really lucky that its watershed, the river shed, the St. Lucie River shed, it's not all cleared, it's not all seawalls. We have a great green river shed that you don't see in a lot of urbanized areas of Florida, which is really great. And then the other thing is with purchases like we did with McCarty Ranch, 5,000 acres. That's 5,000 acres that will never be developed. So we do have some large ones. I got my eye on, off of Rossa Road, we have a Great Lake over there, but there's another one that was supposed to be a park that got away from us.
In the same area?
Yeah, just to the south of it.
Okay.
And it was a borrow pit. Basically, a land development company was mining sand there, and they were supposed to give the land to us, and it didn't happen. And because the contract wasn't enforceable, we didn't get the property. This all happened around 2011, 2012, that this all came out, and it was a terrible time for the city then, so the city wasn't in a financial position to make something happen or fight it out. And that got away from us, but that should have been a park on top of Peacock Park, right along 95. Mm-hmm. That's one. There's one across the street from Verano at 95. Nice piece. The Cameo site on PSL Boulevard and Cameo right against the Turnpike. Oh, it's sugar sand in there with a lake. It's privately owned right now, and people would go in there with four-wheelers so much that the property owner had to fence it off to keep people out. But that's been a great piece of property that people have been trying to use since I started visiting the city. And I mean, they were using it in 1994 as a recreation area, even though it wasn't one. That's a great piece. So there's great pieces across the city. Something else that I would like to see the city do is with our Greenway and Trail Master Plan that we're working on, because trail is a real opportunity for the city, is create a wildlife corridor. And I know it's hard for some people to imagine, but for me, something like Becker Road shouldn't be another PSL Boulevard where you have a hodgepodge of
Businesses,
strip centers
houses,
and single-family
yes.
homes on a divided highway. To me, for Becker, I would love for there to be a multimodal trail where you can bike, you can rollerblade, you can walk, you could ride your golf cart, you can do all these things. And then also that you have a green linear forest that buffers those beautiful neighborhoods from the multi-lane highway. I don't think you have to have more strip centers. We already have
Yes.
strip centers on PSL Boulevard. We have an incredible commercial district and tradition, which, hey, Becker connects right to Southern Grove and the jobs corridor. So I just think that there's this opportunity. And for me, with my background in science and environmental sciences, I'd love to see that linear forest, that wildlife corridor connect McCarty Ranch and our agricultural west to the river, to the savannas.
And it can be done. And that's part of the vision. And, I agree with you on Becker Road. That is a people mover, and it can be a people mover in different modes of transportation. But I hate to see it turn into something similar to Port St. Lucie Boulevard with some multi-use business and residence. I don't think that's the place for it. It's 3 miles from Turnpike to 95 in that area, and that is going to be used to move people, whether we want it to or not, because of that. And so there are some opportunities to better those areas. But I see houses going up there every day, and it's their right. Those are residential lots along Becker Road right now.
And when you talk about moving people, if you have a strip center every 300 feet and you have all those curb cuts, you're not moving people.
You're not moving them very fast. You're not moving them efficiently. And I agree with you. When you have those cuts, egress all the way along there on a 4-lane highway, it really in the middle of a residential area, I think we're missing the boat if we don't try to figure out what that needs to look like in the future.
Crosstown is such an incredible people mover. And for me, the only way to make Crosstown better, and this is something that can happen, is that in addition to being this people mover and a linear park, it also be a linear forest.
And I couldn't agree with you more. That's a perfect example. Crosstown is a people mover. And you have the ability to green that area to some degree without the interference of privately owned properties.
Right. In 15 years, that's
the
could
perfect
just
place.
be a
Yep.
forest.
And
East-west linear forest.
And that's really what Becker should be. You do not want houses on Becker Road. It's a people mover. That is going to be a major throughway, especially with the expansion of Southern Grove. So, but we're speaking to the choir here.
Yeah, but that's a really, it's a great issue to explore. I think, we have an outgoing Dr. Carvelli. When you see this on TV, he probably will have already served his last meeting. He decided not to run for District 2, and the people have elected David Pickett. He'll be joining us, Councilman-elect Pickett, and he ran a great race, so I'm excited to welcome him. But Dr. Carvelli, a few months ago, recognized that part of what makes PSL special is that every lot is not developed, that you still have this interaction with woods. So please know that there is a recognition on the council about that. And, we can't preserve every lot, but we are actively asking the questions, which one should we preserve? And then furthermore, we do believe that everyone should have a park within a 15-minute walk. And, we're working on that also. So that's why the strategic plan is so important. And that's why I can't stress enough, check out the strategic plan, cityofpsl.com/strategic plan.
Yeah, get your input in. Thank you for the question, Mikiyuki. I appreciate that. I think I'm saying it right, but I have no idea. That's the beauty of Facebook.
Well, given your heritage, I'm leaning on you.
I knew you tossed that one to me on purpose. I saw that. All right. You got Herbert, though, right?
All right. Well, to get more tourists in Port St. Lucie, because we have so many accesses to water, can we, as a city, get free rental kayaks with the GPS like those I don't know if that's steppers. My screen cuts off. Steppers you
Fine.
see in
Yep.
Fort Pierce Inlet, so people can use kayaks and the city can track them in case people steal them, but more tourist activity. Do you miss private property rights and free market? Do you want to respond to that first while I take a sip of my Mountain Dew Zero? Remember, PepsiCo, we are building an adventure park on Crosstown Parkway with visibility along the turnpike. So it would be great to see Mountain Dew sponsor our park.
Your park. So I think we know each other pretty well, and I feel like we could probably answer each other's questions for them. But again, I'm with the Chamber of Commerce, so I represent business interests. And if there is a money-making proposition, then I believe we allow private enterprise to come in and serve our community. So I'm not a fan of government competing with private enterprise. I think America was built on the backs of small businesses and all businesses of all sizes and all kinds. So I understand that government needs to service this area with particular things, and like gyms and community centers, a gym, that sort of thing. But I don't agree with public enterprise in all aspects of life. So I would like to see the city find a small operator of kayak rentals in those areas.
So, there's always three sides to every story. There's a range of potential solutions. On the positive side, on the glass half full side, I would say, Herbert, there's definitely kayaks are going to be part of the Port District. They're going to be part of Pioneer Park.
For sure.
It's absolutely going to happen. And in fact, there's kayak launches. We're going to have a kayak trail. We're petitioning the state for a no wake zone. Mm-hmm. So all of these things are already in the works, going to happen. On top of that, council is exploring the possibility of relocating a 1961, which is the year of our incorporation, GDC home to the property from the Sandpiper Bay neighborhood, and making that house available to a kayak outfitter. And then an outfitter, and this has been misunderstood, it's not just a rental, it's like the people that actually sell high quality kayaks. Right. And there is one in our market area that used to be on the South Fork of the river, and they got moved. And I've asked staff to reach out to them to see if they would be interested in bidding if we make this house available to that type of use. Because it's always nice to know you have a quality outfitter going in to a situation. And they're outstanding. So not only did they sell kayaks, that would naturally be a spinoff for the rental.
Right.
But then the whole kind of ecosystem of kayaks, the guides, the fishing guides, the kayak tour guides, now you have that culture established on the site, and it really becomes something. So really excited about that. And even though I'm only one of 5 council members, obviously, I can only speak for myself on this. I tend closer to you, Terissa, on this, that I wouldn't want the city just to provide free kayaks all the time. Mm-hmm. But what I can get on board with, and what I am a fan of, is like every citizen once per year, like either there be a citizen day, or as a citizen, you get one free kayak use per year, something like that. Because I am a fan of like the Family Fun Day at the Saints. The Saints is our golf course, where we can expose people to the sport, to the experience. And to me, that's the fun part of living here. So you know what, Terissa, why don't you come over? Why don't you use a kayak for the first time? And then if you fall in love with it, you're going to go back to this business. You're going to buy your kayak. You're going to rent your kayak. You're going to go on a kayak tour. And I think that can help the business when you do it that way.
It can. And if they see that, if they're a good business person and they see the fact that giving one away each year to a resident is probably going to expose their business more, which is going to in turn turn into money for them, then they very well might be willing to do that with you. I also think that there are other programs. With the Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County, we do a summer passport program where we're taking kids from summer camp that some of them have never even been to the beach, although their summer camp is less than 5 miles from it. And we're exposing them to kayaking and snorkeling and all that kind of great stuff. So then we have a partner program so that my kayak vendors and all those people are still making money. But new kids that have not seen it or done it before being able to have that experience. Because I think that is important. We live in a beautiful area, and I would love to take every kid out to a kayak at least once so that they can say they've tried it. So there's partnerships that can be had, and it may make sense for that business or that outfitter to allow that to happen. And that's what I would like to see. So I get that. But good. All right. Are we moving on to Eve's question?
Yeah.
Eves Herard, I have a real estate license. How can I get involved with the new development?
Well, I can tell you that if you have a real estate license, you may have it hanging with a broker. And so really, a big part of this is going to be controlled by the broker that you select. Mm-hmm. So does your broker do resales? Are they residential? Are they commercial? And some builders allow real estates in, some realtors in, some don't.
Yeah, some use their own.
And if you want to get involved with the new development, are you talking about just selling master plan community homes, or are you talking about the actual development side? You're going to find that usually that's commercial brokerage. And so the SLC Realties of the world, Jeremiah Barons of the world, they're the commercial brokers in our space. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of other realtors out there, and they're going to say that they're involved in commercial. They are. Those are just the ones that we see a lot at on the city council associated with land use and zoning applications. But there's a lot of brokerages in the city. A lot of them are our friends and the friends of the chamber. Mm-hmm. And so you just have to explore who's the right fit for you. And then so again, if you want to be on the commercial side and the development side, you're probably going to want to find a brokerage that is very well known and experienced in the commercial side. And if you're just talking about selling homes in Valencia K, you have to figure out what the master developer's policy is towards realtors and who they let in, and then kind of match up. It's very important when you are a real estate sales agent and licensed by the state of Florida that you pick a broker who is the best fit for what you want to do as a realtor or a sales agent.
So real estate development is huge business all over the world, and St. Lucie County is no different. We have an abundance of realtors. We got people getting in the game. Some people we know every day getting in that game, and it is a hustle.
Some people that sit on this dais.
Some people that sit on this dais, more than one, are getting in that game, and it is a hustle. But I can't tell you, and we do a program.
I let my license lapse. So.
You did? Okay. I don't have one, and I feel kind of left out.
I never wanted to be in the position where there was a realtor out there that thought maybe they lost the contract because
the mayor. Yeah,
So I didn't want to be in a position where.
Same with me. The chamber head doesn't need to be, competing with my members, so I would never do it as well. But I can say this: we do a lot of programs with the Realtors Association and their government affairs, and I can't say enough how important it is that if you are a realtor, you understand a lot of the regulatory process for business. If you're going to be renting or selling commercial space, it's a different ball game. Residential, a house is a house, and most people can grasp the regulatory process in putting up a house or moving into a house. But the commercial game is completely different. And we unfortunately run into issues all the time where you have a friend that you used as your realtor because you do not have to have a distinction in your license for your commercial project, and they were unaware of things that may affect your commercial business. So at the chamber, we have that small business assistance program, thanks to the city of Port St. Lucie, to help guide people into finding the right fit for them for their commercial space. I cannot stress that enough.
I appreciate you doing that, because one example that will stay with me forever is a very nice lady had saved up her whole life to open up a child care facility. Mm-hmm. And she signed a lease for a property, and it wasn't up to the code necessary to serve children, which comes with all kinds of things like
firewall,
electric receptacles, et cetera. And she lost her life savings.
She did.
And I wouldn't want to be associated with putting her in that position, as in the realtor in the deal that encouraged her and found her the space and said, oh, this is a great place for you. And then watch as she couldn't execute because the improvements to the space were more money than she had. And so many people go into new businesses undercapitalized anyways.
They do.
But, you know, she saved up a lot of money, more money than I've ever saved up, and it was all gone, and it's just sad.
And honestly, no fault to the realtor because this isn't something that's taught to them through their licensing. This is something they have to really seek. But I say use us. If you're a realtor and you want to do commercial space, please come use us. As the realtor, come ask us, what is this space good for?
What's the name of your program, and how do people reach out to you to go through it?
It's Small Business Assistance Program. You can go to our website, but you can email me at president@stluciechamber.org, or our phone number is easy, 595-9999. I have an example too. You know, the firehouse is for sale, and I hopefully Nate Spare is not watching now. The firehouse is for sale, but that is some tricky zoning. And there are big bays there where the fire trucks were, and most people that want to purchase that want to use those big bays for their business. But any business that would use big bays is not zoned for that area. And so it's sort of it's a real sticky wicket. And I've had probably no less than 5 people contact me that want to buy that and use those bays, but the zoning is not there for industrial or service even. It is just ROI professional. And so people need to understand what's going to happen with those bays going forward. And frankly, I just sat through design standards the other day, and design standard regulations are coming through that no bays can face a street in any areas other than an industrial or light industrial, you know, specific zones. And that is not going to be one of the zones that bays can face a street. So this is very important stuff that people may not realize when they think, this is the perfect building for me. I need that space. I need to put trucks in there to load them up and get them out. And guess what you're not going to be able to do?
That's right. It's not light industrial. That's not this commercial service.
It's not commercial service.
So that's a tricky one, and the one on Prima Vista was tricky also.
It is, and that one happened a while ago, so we're kind of making that work.
Yeah.
But this is brand new, and with the new design standards, with the new zoning it just got, it went from institutional to ROI, which is a step in the right direction, but it still very much limits the type of business that can go there.
And then all those lots on PSL Boulevard are real shallow, and which again brings us back to Becker. And you know, it's tough to put in a high quality development on 125 foot of depth or even 250.
Yeah.
And you just don't have the room to do the commercial right. So yes, please reach out to the chamber, and please learn as much as you can about the process so that, you know, we can help as many people as possible realize their dream of owning a successful business and never make it to the finish line because they didn't have the money or they picked the wrong spot. But it's really, Eves, it's about finding the right broker for you is my recommendation. And as someone who was a former real estate sales agent, license holder, and someone who's had a lot of familiarity with real estate firms in the state of Florida. Our board is clean now, Terissa, but I did see on there before someone had asked about first-time home buying, and I would always encourage anyone to go to cityofpsl.com and then go to the Neighborhood Services Department. And we have a number of first-time home buyer programs. We have a great program coming up thanks to a partnership with Synergy Homes. Synergy Homes, a great local home builder. They want to give a home away. They're building a home. They're going to break ground next month. They want to work with the city to give it to a Gold Star family or veteran.
Cool.
And so we'll be bringing interested parties through a first-time home buyer program for that home. And we have several programs, as does St. Lucie County.
Yeah.
So encourage you to go to the Neighborhood Services webpage and learn more. And Maureen probably already put that there. That's why it's not up there anymore, because she's that fast.
I'm sure she did. They also have, the realtors have programs to help first-time buyers too with grants for closing costs, that sort of thing. And never discount Habitat for Humanity. Now you put some sweat equity into that, but well worth it.
Well, the thing I love about Habitat for Humanity is that they have a rigorous homeowner training program. Mm-hmm. Because if you've never bought a home before, you've never owned a home, there's a lot that goes into it. And you have to be ready, or it may be very unpleasant. And they just have a proven track record that their program works, gets people ready for home ownership, and they have a great success rate. And they do a quality product in our market. So yes, please check that out. And there are opportunities out there. And like anything else, hard work wins out.
It always does.
Yes, if
That's
you
what
do
I
your
like about
homework
it.
and you check it out, you're going to find it. Well, in closing, Terissa, thank you for joining us. I know that you were scheduled to be away, but you found your way here, and we're always glad to see you. We appreciate you. We appreciate the chamber, and thank you for working so hard for your members in trying times. This last week was November the 11th. Today is Friday the 13th, so hopefully Jason Voorhees is going to pop out anywhere.
good
He could be anywhere. He's a pretty
13th.
tricky guy. Very tricky man for being so tall. He's like 6. He's taller than me.
Very
I'm
stealth in the
6'2".
movies, yes.
Yes, and he's got a very steady walk. It just track you down no matter
I hear
where
you
you're running
coming.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see, slow and steady wins the race, obviously.
It does.
So hopefully he's not going to pop out anywhere. But much more seriously, earlier this week was November 11th, and we did celebrate Veterans Day. And just want to close by expressing our gratitude, love, respect, and admiration for all of our veterans out there. We appreciate you on Veterans Day and every day. And I'll always like to point out some of the new things or the exciting things that are being done by our community who cares about its veterans. And so I mentioned Synergy Homes with the home giveaway to a Gold Star family or veteran, as the case may be. Both groups will be eligible. They did want to prioritize the Gold Star family because they might be in a really bad way because of losing their loved one who was a veteran, if you know what a Gold Star family is. And then the other thing is this year, we're working on a lot of stuff. We talked a lot about a lot of the things we're working on today, all the master planning we're doing, which is the step before you invest the money and make it happen. We are master planning our Port District. The Port District was formerly known as Riverwalk, which is the strip of land and the area just on the east side of the river. And it goes from the preserve and Pioneer Park, so the Botanical Gardens just to the south of that, just above the anchorage, all the way to Lingate Park, and includes Veterans Park. And so I would want the public to come out, be part of this process, and specifically about veterans, how might we make our incredible Veterans Park even better? Should we expand it up to the lake? Should we add a hall so that we can have a veterans hall for indoor events and exhibits? This is a great time to ask these questions, answer it, put it in the plan, and then make it happen.
I agree.
You got any big close?
I don't, actually. I felt like you did it for us.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I always enjoy being here. And till next time, everybody, have a great day.
Happy Thanksgiving, Terissa and PSL, because when this airs, we're going to be right around Thanksgiving probably, and we won't be back till after Thanksgiving. Now, that'll blow your mind. Have a great day, everybody.